Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about the quadrilateral hierarchy. So a hierarchy is something that can be arranged or classified by rank. So we're going to be looking at the different attributes that we just learned about for all the quadrilaterals, and we're going to arrange them in a rank from least specific quadrilateral to most specific quadrilateral. All right, guys, the least specific kind of quadrilateral is just that, a quadrilateral, meaning a shape with four sides. The next kind of quadrilateral that we're going to add to our hierarchy is a kite. So a kite is a very special kind of quadrilateral because it has adjacent sides congruent, but it does not have any parallel sides. Stemming off from the other kind of quadrilaterals are going to be trapezoids. They're going to be the first kind of quadrilateral that has at least one set of parallel sides. Continuing on that chain, a parallelogram is a type of trapezoid because it has at least one set of parallel sides, but parallelograms go further and they have two sets of parallel sides with opposite sides parallel and congruent. Stemming off a parallelogram to one side is going to be a rhombus. So a rhombus is very, very similar to a parallelogram. It can also be described as a trapezoid because it does have two sets of parallel sides, but it has all four sides congruent. You can also go from a kite to a rhombus because since all four sides are congruent, that would naturally mean that the touching sides or adjacent sides are also congruent. Relating to the parallelogram on a different kind of thread is a rectangle. So a rectangle has opposite sides parallel, opposite sides congruent, and four right angles. So it can also be defined as a trapezoid, a parallelogram. It cannot be a rhombus because it does not have four sets of congruent sides or all four sides congruent, and it cannot be a kite because the adjacent sides are not congruent either. The last kind of quadrilateral is a square. A square is going to be the most specific kind of quadrilateral with the most attributes, and it does connect to every single type of quadrilateral. It meets the attributes of a trapezoid, kite, parallelogram, rhombus, and rectangle because it has four congruent sides, opposite sides parallel, four right angles, and because it has four congruent sides, that would mean that adjacent sides are also congruent. So when we're looking at this hierarchy and we're reading it, you could read it going up in the sense of anything below in the hierarchy can be identified as something that it links to above it in the hierarchy. So a square is a rhombus, but not all rhombuses are squares. Because a square is a rhombus, that would mean that some rhombuses are squares, but not all rhombuses are squares. Same thing, going from a parallelogram to a trapezoid. A parallelogram always meets all the qualifications to be a trapezoid, but a trapezoid does not always meet the qualifications to be a parallelogram. Therefore, all parallelograms are trapezoids, and some trapezoids are parallelograms. So when you're reading this hierarchy, you can go from the bottom to the top, going up those lines to see what shapes relate to each other most exactly.